So you put your story in the midst of a Texas that most folks don't know. What point were you making about the setting as it was?
Well, I am from the Texas Panhandle,
Okay.
just northeast of Amarillo, a little town called Pampa. And so, it was about a lot of things, the film was, but I also wanted to tell a true small town story. Hollywood doesn't always get that right. Okay. And a lot of times we can be like, oh, small town people are a caricature, and that's what they're supposed to be, and that feels good to us as Hollywood people, but wouldn't fly for me, and I want to be able to go home. So
Sure.
I wanted to do a true-to-life version of the Texas that I grew up in.
Okay.
And we tried to represent that the best we could.
Excellent. Your lead character is an outsider, but she's obviously desired as a woman. Why did you create that dichotomy for her, again, in the type of Texas you put her in?
I really felt like and wanted to represent it. There's some of these places in the world where it's almost like people shouldn't live there, but they do.
Right.
And it's like their forebears, we're in this place that was inhospitable, and it breeds a certain type of person.
Okay.
And there's a strength within that, there's a capability within that.
Okay.
And I really wanted to portray that she had that, and that
sure.
she was a little tough. But part of being tough is being a little prickly, being a little standoffish at times. You don't see the world as always looking out for you, and that makes you capable of withstanding a lot, but also puts you at a disadvantage in some ways, and it's kind of her Achilles heel. So I wanted to see a character that was from a place and was representative of it.
Interesting. A person outside Texas like myself can view the legislative elements of the state through the lens of maybe the last power grasp of the patriarchy, and yet there's Jasmine Crockett. What is the state of women and matriarchal power in Texas, and where is the most hope?
Well, we wanted to have a film that had hope to it, that was about community, that wasn't just, certainly we didn't want to be another film that was preaching or telling someone how to think. I mean, you mentioned the legislature. It was a big thing for me right from the beginning, was I was like, let's leave the politics to the politicians. And that's not it. The artist's job is to reflect the world that you see and what it is and talk about humanity. And that was really what we strove to do. There is a little bit of our film. There's a wonderful old Texas actress, and I mean old in the good sense, not the bad sense, but Mona Lee, who's been around since really the beginning of Texas film, helped a lot of people, Rich Linklater and those kind of people get their start. And she was the first professional I ever met in the film business in Texas. Who did this movie, and we lost her about a month ago. It turned out to be her last film, and she played an older woman who helps our main character in the film. And we had a lot of conversations about there's a certain women of a certain age who've been through this once before, and that they already have an understanding of what's happening. They didn't want it or expect it to come back around. But because they have dealt with it previously, I think they've been leading the way on how to handle the new landscape. And I think we do good to listen to them.
So there are two parts in which the lead character encounters sex, one anecdotal and one actual. And both are similar in their damnation qualities. Why did you put the woman in this mindset? And were you going to make a larger statement on men and women commingling in such a way?
That is a good question. As far as the two times where we deal with sex, it was on purpose put there to be an echo of another thing. And the idea was that you would experience it in real time once and then hear about it, and having experienced it once in real time. Right. When you heard about it, you would have a visceral feeling of what that was. Yes. And my actress in that moment, really some of her finest work, and so I think it does, portray itself. But, as far as the men and women thing, one of the things that we hope the movie does, I think it, strives to do it, is that in our current culture and our current day and age, we really want to separate men and women. We want to say, oh, you don't have anything in common. You don't know each other. A man doesn't understand a woman, and a woman doesn't understand a man, and we should retreat to our different corners. And we really tried to make something and hope to be something that was like, no, we have way more in common than what we think. And if we can recognize that and not let people put us in our different corners, we'll be better for it. So,
excellent. So there's much subterfuge in the film. Burner phones, false names, and deception to hide truth, all burdening the woman. What are you saying to the leadership of Texas with this sad need for such circumstance for their citizens?
I think it, all of that stems from, when you put prohibition on something, you drive it underground. And the moment that you do that, you allow for maybe, unsavory characters or good upstanding people are forced to now deal with maybe unsavory characters or go down a path that they never would, It's like, we all like to think, we're good upstanding citizens, we're not going to break the law, but, maybe you're just one law passed away from all of a sudden being a lawbreaker yourself, and you never imagined you would be. So,
excellent answer, man. Religion is symbolically rendered through one of your characters. With what he does in the film, how does the preacher represent the humanity that herd mentality Christianity sorely lacks?
One of my favorite things that I've experienced since I've made this film is a lot of people watch the film and thought to themselves that it would give them a space to, go, oh, see, I knew this thing and the other people are wrong. And instead, they found themselves judging the preacher and going, oh, what about my own judgments? And that was the idea, It's easy to paint religion in a bad light. You can do that, but there are people who, see it as the least among us and really try to, do that message, which was, a lot of Jesus's teachings. And, there are those people who say, that's what I'm dedicating my life to. And, you can get into the dogma in that space, or you can get into the people. And I think that there are preachers who do get into the people and wanted to represent that, to your earlier point about hope, which is like it, that is one of the things that, religion at its best tries to give us is hope for a better humanity and a better future. So,
okay, so final question. Will stories like yours become more necessary or less necessary as we are moving into a more authoritarian age? Will there be an uprising or still a continued capitulation to these forces?
I think that
again, in the context of your film.
Yeah, we live. What is to be cursed to live in interesting times, right?
Yeah.
We are living in some very interesting times,
yeah.
And I think it is absolutely more necessary than ever. I think that we, at times in the not too, this last, I guess, era of filmmaking or art,
right.
I feel like the artist, we got really preachy, and we really got into a place where we were less doing the job of the artist of reflecting back the world we're living in. We got a little bit more of like, this is what I believe, and if you don't believe what I believe, then
right.
To hell with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what we really need, as we've retreated to some of these different sides, is people that are going to try to get us to ask the right questions instead of tell us what to believe, and to represent things in a really artistic way and make people think and get us to come together. And if we don't do that, then I think we're going to end up being in a lot of trouble. And, that would certainly, authoritarian is to say it is only one way, in whatever way that would be.
Right.
And I think that the artist's job is to try to put ourselves in some shoes that go, oh, maybe it's another way. Maybe it's not my job to tell my neighbor how to live.
Right.
And maybe I don't even agree with the way in which my neighbor is going to live.
Right.
But they should have the ability to live their life in the way they see fit. And I think we do a good job whenever we give all of our fellow humans some latitude to live their life.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2025.